Like this little background right here, Chris.
Yeah, I see it
Yo,
outside.
Cam, yo, you see this? Yo, we outside. We're at not sponsored, but we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Pin the Gas Podcast. I'm your host, Cool Jules. I'm joined here by Chris the Whole Epic Show Simcoe, aka Mr. Pin the Gas himself. And we have a really special, spicy, international love guest here in not the building, somewhere where he's at. My man Cameron Red Eye Fraser, Pin the Gas nickname Red Eye. What's good, brother? How you doing?
Yeah, hi. Not too bad, thank you. It's great to meet you, Jules. Obviously, I've spoken with Chris before, but yeah, not too bad, thank you. Obviously, as you mentioned, we managed to wrap up the British GPT Championship at the weekend. So I still don't think it's quite sunk in
Congrats,
yet.
congrats.
Thank you very much. It's not quite sunk in yet, I don't think. We weren't fully prepared for it. Like at the weekend, my mum, she had to, bless her, she had to go and make a homemade number one like gold T-shirt, and then we're now just sorting bits out. So hopefully we'll have a nice gold helmet ready for Brands Hatch, and we'll have some more like T-shirts for sponsors and everything else. So yeah, no, feeling really good after the weekend, and yeah, excited to be on the podcast.
Yeah, man,
Dude,
we
we are
appreciate you being here. Yeah, it's an honor.
we're hyped that you're here. My man clinches the title, comes on Pin the Gas to say something to the Americans. Shoot, aren't we lucky, Chris? Aren't we blessed?
Listen, it's a straight honor. It really is to have Cameron on. Jamie Hollis, what is up, my man? Yeah, it's been spectacular. All the love we've been getting from like Cameron and everybody else over there in BSB, which everybody knows is my favorite race organization there is, and I've said it 100 million times. Yeah, so listen, Cameron, talk about how you got into motorcycle racing to begin with, right? Was it your dad, your grandpa? How did you actually get into the whole motorcycle scene?
So I guess you could say it started with my dad. It's not really come through our family as such. He just, I think, always rode bikes from like a very young age. He was very much into like building engines and things like that as a kid. So he got his first bike when I think he was like 16, and then has just always rode motorcycles from that point onwards. And then I guess I got into it because he used to do track days. So when me and my sister were very little, we'd go and watch him at the track. He'd always watch MotoGP. He'd always have World Superbikes on. He'd always have British Superbikes on. And I think just watching that as a kid, just made me think, oh, you know what? I think I'd really like to do that. And so literally from about the age of 3 years old, I was watching him ride his bike, watching him watch, bike racing and F1 and things like that, and thought, you know what? I think racing is something that I'd like to do. So I think I remember from a very young age, I think about 8 years old, that's when I first maybe started, not necessarily go-karting. He just took me to like a go-kart track and let me have a quick go. But I think it was always bikes that I wanted to do. So go-karting, I did that once or twice. And I was like, yeah, this is all right. But I went on the back of his bike, again, a similar sort of age, about 8 years old, and thought, yeah, this is for me. But unfortunately, it wasn't until I was about like 11. That's when I finally got my first ever mini moto. So I don't know if you guys over in the US, you have the little mini bikes.
Yes, we do. We do. Back in freaking my bad. I crashed so many times because I've done it once.
Love that. Well, so we started on like the little Pellini, I think they were 4.2 horsepower, air cooled. We started on one of them when I was 11, and then just sort of took it from there, really. Just found that I was reasonably quick. I think my first ever race, I started near the back because qualifying was in the dry. But then when it came to the races on the Sunday, it was all wet and horrible, which when I was that age, I just sort of rode the same as I did in the wet as I did the dry. So I think I remember starting at the back of the grid and ended my first ever race in like fourth place, I think it was. And then also, yeah, just sort of took it from there, started on the mini motos and then progressed up to the Metrokit GP50s and then, yeah, just took it from there and got bigger bikes, bigger tracks. And then, yeah, here we are almost 12, 13 years later, still riding and still enjoying it.
And a champion, don't forget that, champ.
12,
Yes,
13,
and
really
the
clinched the
champion,
chip.
baby.
And the
Let's
champion of
go.
the GP2s. And probably not a lot of people know, but I'm actually this would now be a two-time British champion because I won the KTM Cup.
2 times, y'all. He said 2.
Two-time British champion. I remember back in 2015. That was when they ran the KTM Junior Cup. I think you guys in the US had something similar as well.
We did.
Because
Yep.
yeah, I remember in my last race in the championship, that was when they hosted the world round. So we had the likes of the US KTM Cup. I think the German, the Dutch. I think we had Sean Dillon Kelly. I remember he was in there. The likes of Brandon Pash. You know, loads of riders. We all battled it out for world honours, but at the same time, I also managed to wrap up the British Championship as well.
Let me interject real quick. I think it's so cool, and it's still surreal to me, even though I'm none of these guys, that people, just international in general, mention American talent, and that just brings like a warm, endearing feeling to my heart, doesn't it, Chris?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, it really does. It just speaks volumes of our sport and all that good stuff that goes along with it.
Also, how niche the community is, right? The fact that you guys all kind of know each other, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, we need to get BSB and Moto America to collide. So,
100%. I think you got the likes of Cam Bobier, Josh Herring, all those types of guys. It'd be really cool to see them. Oh yeah, I see the little wrapping. Is that the Josh Herring merch?
Yeah, it is.
Love that. Yeah, it'd be awesome to see these guys come over to BSB, and I know Josh Herring. I'm sure he'd love to do Cadwell. I'm sure he'd love to do the mountain. So no, it'd be awesome to see some of these riders come over and maybe vice versa, have some of us go over to AMA and
turn off all the electronics, turn off traction control. Let's see what they do over there.
That's it.
I'm always curious to know, like obviously our guys are nasty, but in terms of how they ride without all the extra stuff, man. That would be so cool. Just raw motorcycle, raw skill, and on the mountain.
Yeah,
that's a tall order to ask right there.
That would
no pun intended. No pun intended.
No, it would be awesome. People don't realize Cadwell Park TV just don't do it no justice. I try to tell everybody that. I mean, being there, standing there at the bottom and looking at the mountain jump as they're coming up over it, and you're just like, man, forgive me for holy shit. Are you kidding me? And they're just 3-4 feet in the air, the back tire. And it's just, it's the most beautiful thing I have ever seen in my entire life, minus the Isle of Man TT. I mean, on a racetrack. And that's a fact.
I gotta go there, man.
You got to.
You 100% need to go, yeah.
Yo, but Kent, let me ask you. So, for the people who don't know, because I'm still trying to bridge the gap between the casuals and the team sport in general, how do you explain your divisions and people who have no idea where you race?
Sure. So, when it comes to GP2, we essentially are a class inside British Supersport. So, I know you guys in American Superbike, you have your Supersport Championship. The bikes are very similar to what you have over there in Britain, in that they're production bikes with some extra bits with suspension, nicer brakes, slick tires, that sort of thing. That's obviously British Supersport, and the GP2 class runs alongside the Supersport class. But the way it differs in that our bike is not a production based machine, so it's a custom built chassis, custom swing arms. Our main advantage is that we're lighter weight and that we can do more to the bike. So in terms of geometry changes, suspension changes, we can do a little more than, let's say, a normal Supersport bike can do. But as I mentioned, our advantages come in being a little bit lighter, and the fact that the Supersport bikes, they have a lot more power. So I think typically a normal Supersport bike will produce upwards of 142, 143 horsepower. Some of the top end bikes, I think 145 plus. Whereas the GP2 machines, I think are limited to 132 horsepower. So we're a little bit lighter, but we've got less power. And then, I guess that almost balances things out when it comes to performance and power.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
And I'm going to assume that one of the disadvantages of having a GP2 bike is maybe the budget. Would that make sense? There's not a lot of extra production bikes versus a Suzuki GSX-R 750?
Yeah, to an extent. So previously the GP2 class was considered almost an affordable option, in the sense that the bikes cost a lot more upfront, but you don't need to spend the money on upgrading the engines. Whereas a super sport bike, obviously the cost of upgrading your engine and having it refreshed every 2-3 rounds, that's what costs a lot of money. So from that angle, the GP2 was actually considered potentially a more affordable option, but at the same time, you've got to fork the money out up front rather than doing it over the year. So they sort of are similar, but then as you mentioned, with the likes of the Suzuki 750 and bikes like that coming through, that actually at the minute is probably the most attractive option for a super sport bike, just because I think they're restricted to 80% throttle. You won't necessarily have to do a rebuild at all through the season, and obviously the power of the engine as it is standard is pretty decent. And I think the general performance you get out of the bike, it's a good chassis, it handles well. So I think as a new package, I think that's probably one of the good options.
And
I agree.
Assuming,
Yeah,
because if you won the championship, if you were able to go back in time, you wouldn't change a goddamn thing, would you?
It's one of those things, isn't it, where you can't really look back and think, oh, do I regret anything or not? But so in the UK, a lot of people, before going to Supersport, we go from what's called stock 600 class. So it's basically Supersport bikes, but just in their like sort of stock spec. The engines don't have anything done to them. So I started in that class a few years ago, and then we decided to make the move to GP2. So that was at the time a really good move, because GP2 was sort of the up and coming class, and that was the idea, was that GP2 was then just going to take over from British Supersport. As it happens, that didn't really come to fruition, which isn't the end of the world, and it's something that I've really enjoyed the journey of helping to develop the bike, and I've developed a lot as a rider over the last couple of years. So there's definitely no regrets, and obviously as the GP2 championship, the GP2 champion this year. Obviously very happy, very proud, and thankful for my family, all my sponsors that have sort of stuck by me over the years, and yeah, it's great. It's a great feeling now that we're actually here, and yeah.
Why don't you go ahead, Jules?
My bad. This is the last one coming from me, but yeah. I mean, shoot. If you're racing on pretty much a prototype, man, I'd feel like an automatic badass from the jump. But this is my last one before I'm gonna pass it over to Chris. Now, with you racing pretty much a fully customizable chassis bike in general, do you think, in the grand scheme of things, this is probably one of the best ways to get kids prepared to, join the big leagues, as in like a Moto 2, a Moto 3, based on the criteria that you're given with your bike?
Yeah, I think so, because you're learning the foundations for a lot of what these bikes feel like, and that you need to know when you make the transition. Where I'd say it's a little bit different, for instance, like with my bike, is the fact that we're a Yamaha R6 engine, whereas in Moto2 they use the Triumph 765. So there's differences there. And in terms of the actual chassis itself, if you get on something like a Kalex or a Speed Up that they have in the Moto2 Championship at the minute, they're obviously very stiff, very rigid chassis, whereas I'd say the chassis I'm on at the minute is like a combination. It's like in the middle of a super sport style chassis and then like a Moto2 chassis. So there's a bit more flex. It's a little bit softer, and I think it makes it a little bit easier to ride. So from that side of things, I guess you could say that it would help riders be prepared, because they've got all these changes that they can do with the bikes. But in terms of the actual bikes themselves, they are still a little bit different from what you get in, let's say, World Championship.
I mean, shoot, to me it sounds pretty freaking worth it, Chris. Why don't we just bring GP2 to the US, man? Put
Hey, I
these
think it
kids
would
on
be
them
great.
prototype bikes.
Yeah, I think it would
Yeah,
be great,
but
sure.
all right, Chris, go ahead, man.
So, Cameron, why don't you? Obviously, there's one more round left. Brands Hatch, right, which is the last race of the season. So, run us through your expectations starting the beginning of the season. Obviously, champ, right, where you ended up. But run us through a recap of your season so far.
So yeah, I think coming into the season, the goal was always to finish on the top step. Last year, we obviously did the same thing. We ended up P2 in the championship, just behind Jack Scott, who was the champion last year. So the fact that we continued to do GP2 this year, the goal was always to go in and win it. So that was the expectation from round one right the way through to the end. Throughout the sort of year, it's been up and down. We've had some really good results. We've been very consistent throughout the year. So every race I've managed to finish on the podium, except, funnily enough, the last race on Sunday, where I came 5th. But that was inevitably what helped me win the championship. So throughout the year, we've been really consistent. There's been a few of us that have been there or thereabouts every single race. So we've had Joe Collier on the Kramer, which is an Austrian GP2 manufacturer. He's been there pretty much throughout the year. Unfortunately for him, he had an injury at Cadwell Park. He crashed in qualifying, and then that sort of ended his season. But I believe from round one onwards, we've led the championship, and literally every single race we've either finished 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, apart from the race on Sunday. So I think that consistency ultimately throughout the year has just led to myself having a nice little lead going into the sort of last final rounds of the championship. And then obviously we wrapped it up at Donington in the not so nice weather, but it's one of them where it felt like the longest race of my life, but we managed to just toddle around and obviously bring it home. So ultimately, yeah, really happy to come away with the championship. And then the good thing now is that obviously it's wrapped up. So going into Brands, we've got nothing to lose. We can just relax, we can enjoy, and it means there'll be a big party afterwards, I'm sure.
How many rounds are left?
Just the one. Just the one at Brands Hatch.
Okay. When you win the when you win the championship, arguably a little earlier before the end of the season, I always try to gauge it. For example, right? So Jake Gagne is the Superbike champion here in Moto America, but he clinched that thing super early in the year. Is there like a sense of like easing off a little bit, just bring the bike home, or is it still like pin the gas 100%? Let's go, let's win every single freaking race that we can win, even though we already won the championship. I mean, obviously the goal is to win, but you also don't want to like risk anything, right? Like injury or severely damaging the bike. Is there like a sense of calmness after winning that you're like, all right, maybe I don't have to push as hard anymore?
So I think there's definitely an element of calmness, but I think that's a good thing. I think that then means you can go into the last races just giving it your all, and you know that you've got nothing to lose. You've only really got next year to think about, but you take every race by race, so you're not thinking too far ahead. So I think there's that element of being really relaxed, really calm, being happy, and often a happy rider is a fast rider. So and I know at the end of Brands there's going to be a massive party. So I think it's just a case of enjoying it, trying to win both races, end the year on a high, and then go out and get smashed after.
Well, yeah. What's your vision on the perfect after party, bro?
Oh, I think I mean usually at the end of your
strippers.
Parties, there's no, I've got a girlfriend, so I don't think I can.
Sorry, Mrs. Fraser. Oh shoot.
So I think for me a big party will be drinking loads of what I've got here, which is gin hard protein, drinking a load of them, and just getting on a nice wave and enjoying some good music, and just having a bit of fun.
That's awesome. So favorite music?
Yeah,
favorite
man,
music.
We'll get you
hype. I have to say American rap is one of my favorite.
Go. Okay. Who we got?
Yeah.
So
who's in your playlist, Cameron?
Eminem, he's an absolute classic. Love his tunes before a race. One of the newer ones, Meek Mill, if you've heard of him. Yep. Some of his tunes at the minute, love it. Drake, big fan of Drake.
Yep.
Gotta love
Post
Drake.
Malone.
That's interesting.
I like a bit of not before a race.
Okay, yeah, I was about to say like it's very mellow.
So the previous three, I'd say they're like good race tunes.
Meek
Rick
Mill,
Ross.
I get.
Meek Mill,
Rick Ross.
Some of his massive before a race just get you in that nice little Nice little zone. UK rap as well. Big fan. It's like Tion Wayne. I don't know if you've come across Tion Wayne. He's a
Nah.
big UK grime artist over here, and some of his songs are like, they get you in that zone.
So,
but then, go on.
Oh no, I was about to say because you mentioned UK rap, and then now I'm up in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm gonna look
I've been
them up.
listening. A couple of my favorites are H. I really like H.
Yeah.
Yeah, H is pretty good. Rax LC. I think that's his name.
Rax LC. I don't think I've come across him, to be fair.
Fredo.
Yep.
I know
Fredo's nasty.
Fredo.
Fredo's nasty.
I know Fredo from Moto PG. That's the only Fredo I know.
And Chip, obviously Stormzy, but everyone knows Stormzy.
Oh yeah,
and
everyone knows Stormzy.
Yeah. Chip is one of my favorites. But when you mention Meek Mill, is there a specific song? I feel like it's the times
one
like
of my
this
favorites.
to rhymes like this.
It's Sharing Location. I don't think it's one of his like big ones, but it's one of his more recent ones from last year. And I have to say that's probably my favorite. It's just I don't know, the way it sort of goes is the beat.
He's
the
just
bass,
screaming
everything.
on the track.
You literally are.
Hold up, wait a minute. Y'all thought I was finished?
Yeah, literally.
That song.
It gets you hyped. But then at the same time, you know what? I love a bit of rock as well. So we're talking about Aerosmith, some of their songs. I'm a big fan of. I'm trying to think of some other like rock artists that I'd listen to, but it's mainly like UK rap, a bit of drum and bass as well. So I don't know if you've heard of the artist Fred Again.
Yes,
Fred Again. Yeah,
I
he's probably one of my favourites at the minute, and listen to a load of his songs like Jungle, Turn Off the Lights. He's got loads. So yeah, I'd say they're probably the biggest three. Not a big fan of pop, to be honest with you. All the songs are just all the same, and it's just you listen to one song, you then listen to another, and you're like, oh, it's just all the same. So that's why I throw it back to Eminem. He's like one of my favourite artists of all time.
Favorite Eminem song?
Yeah, what's on repeat, man? Right when you put that helmet on.
I can't name. There's a few, and so Not Afraid is one of them.
Yep.
Interesting.
Mockingbird.
Yep.
Before
Lose
a race?
Yourself.
Oh, it's just in general.
Yeah.
These just in general, like yeah.
Okay,
but you know what? Mockingbird. I know it's more of his like one of his softer ones, but Before a Race or like when I'm in the gym, I don't know what it is about that song, but it
gives this dark, like eerie.
Yeah, exactly. Before a Race as well. I'd listen to that.
I could put it together. I mean, like you figured the metaphor for Mockingbird is like I'm gonna do everything I can to get this Mockingbird. It's pretty much what he's saying for the song.
Yeah, literally.
To get that Mockingbird for Haley. And in your case, it's like you're gonna do everything you can, even if you have to break somebody's neck. Well, not like you're gonna do that, but in the song to win that championship. I get you.
Exactly. And it's a dope beat as well. It's a really good beat behind.
Oh, that beat's fire.
I've heard some of those artists you talk about, but most of them, the UK based, I haven't heard of at all. I have to check.
Chris is a young Dolph fan.
Yeah, I like
Wiz Khalifa.
Yeah, Wiz is my dude.
Yeah, he's a G. He's a G. But that's homework for both of you then. Following this, is you've got to listen to Tion Wayne. Tion Wayne out the UK. He's a UK grime artist. Really cool guy.
I will just message it to me, Cameron, so I don't forget. Because if not, I'll
100%.
For those who don't know, like would you classify grime as kind of like UK's sort of drill-ish?
Yes. Yeah, that's how I'd class it exactly like that.
Yeah. We got like Pop Smoke.
Yeah, Pop Smoke. Big fan of him.
Yeah. Like and the Chicago drill music. But like, would you consider that like your pre-race? Because I feel like 90% of the people that we asked like what their pre-race regimen is, they're like, oh, I just put on my earplugs and I don't listen to anything. I just kind of zone out. And I'm like, none of y'all listen to music? Like none of y'all fiddle with like a little fidget toy? Like, damn, everyone just kind of just sit there and just
Yeah, I couldn't do that. So like before a race, my pre-race routine is almost I'll do like 30 minutes of stretching, 40 minutes, where I'll get my yoga mat out. I'll put my earphones in and I'll just put noise cancellation on. I'll get I'll get what's called my car playlist. I'll get that on. And what I do is I just literally flick through it, and the songs that get me hyped, I'll just put them on, and then just keep flicking through. But whilst obviously doing all my stretches and getting warmed up, ready for the race. So then, one, it's getting you in that that zone, in that mindset, getting you relaxed. But also, it's finding that balance as well. You want something that hypes you up, but you don't want to be too hyped that then you're like sort of wasting energy. So it's like you got to have that balance where you're getting in the zone, the music's like giving you a good vibe, you're happy, you're relaxed, and then it's obviously getting flexible, getting warmed up, and then ready to go.
Do you ever sing while you're racing?
Do I?
Don't lie, because sometimes
Well, you see,
I'd be.
I'm not really a singer as such, but
Well, not sing, but like you ever like rap or like I don't know, man. I like sometimes when obviously I'm not racing, but when I'm like riding on 287 on my little freeway right here, pushing the legal limit of 145 miles an hour, I'm bumping some Meek Mill. I'm like, I'm a motherfucker, I'm a boss, and I'm screaming in my helmet.
Before the race, when I'm getting changed, yeah. But then I guess as soon as the helmet's on, that's it. I'm in the zone, and it's like everything's out the window. It's just, how am I going to go fast? How am I going to win?
It's that win mode. I'm gonna beat everybody I'm lined up against. Yeah.
I'm surprised
Absolutely.
nobody talks to themselves while they're racing. Like literally, when I was doing the mini GP, I'm like, please don't fall, please don't fall. Brake here, okay, accelerate, good. And then I'm thinking about Lightning McQueen. I'm like, I am speed, and then I low side. But I do talk to myself while I'm moving.
Yeah. So, Jules, why don't you tell Cameron about your adventure out there? Big shout out to Michael Carrera and SFL Mini GP. All you guys need to go check him out. My man Juju out there just made it to the Red Bull Rookie Cup. Let's go. Yeah. So, listen, Cameron, this is a hilarious story. So, Jules, tell Cameron about your CRF 125 adventure on the track.
Oh, dude. So yeah, we have our own little mini GP over here. Again, shout out Michael Carrera. Definitely the greatest time of my life on two wheels. And the bike wasn't even that fast, but it felt fast as hell because it's my first time on a track, and it's my first time literally doing everything, right? So it was about, I think, 9 a.m. in the morning. We all do our speeches. I put on the suit. I get up there. One lap, I'm like trying to feel it. The second lap, I'm like, okay, I think I get the layout of the track now. See, in go-karts, I can get that quick. Motorcycle, totally different story. But on my third lap, my third lap ever in a track, I dragged knee for the first time. I was like, holy crap, I just did that. And it felt like an accident.
Ever, best feeling ever,
yes,
isn't it?
But it felt like an accident. I was like, I felt it, and I was like, was that me or was that the bike? Whatever. And then 2 laps later, I crash. I low side, and I end up breaking the clutch lever on that Sarah. So I take it back. And shout out to Rick and Curtis. They were my pit crew for the day, my rent a crew. And then they fixed the clutch lever. They put me back out there, doing another practice session. I get through that practice session unscathed, right? I'm still slow as hell. Like, I'm never gonna catch up to the kids. The kids that we're racing with are Moto America champions in the Junior Cup Series, or they're at least top 10. So these guys are fast, and they know this track. So then, second session, unscathed. My first heat race, I looped the bike from the start because I don't know how to launch. So I'm sitting here. I'm like, let go of the clutch, and the little fucker pushed me off the bike, and I looped it, and I broke another clutch cable. I was like, a clutch lever. And I was like, God damn, that's another clutch blown out. So I take it to Rick and Curtis. I'm like, hey guys, it happened again. So then they fixed the clutch lever, and they're like, are you gonna go back out there? I was like, no, I looped it in the beginning. They're like, what? You looped the bike? I was like, yeah, because I had no clue how to launch. But then someone was giving me advice, like, you're supposed to kind of sit like on top of the tank and launch off second gear. That's what they told me.
That's interesting.
So I was like, yeah, that's what they told me, at least for my first time. I was like, so, and then my third session, I think this was my last one. I'm riding, I'm in the race. I get blue flagged because I'm slow as hell. And then I took the front and I break another clutch lever.
Oh my god! He did 3.
Yeah, what a story,
3.
right? Yeah.
3 clutch levers.
In one
And
day.
then I felt
That's got to
so
be a
bad.
record, surely. A record in 1 week.
It has to be a record.
Right.
It has to be a record. And then I was like, you know what, guys, I'm done. I think I'm done for the day. And they're like, no, we got the Z125 and it has a clutch lever guard. I'm like, nope, I'm done. I appreciate it. I'm sore, and I had to go to Disney World the next morning. So I'm walking in Disney World. My arm is like this, and my like right leg is killing me. And I'm like, damn. If you've never been to Disney World, man, put that on your bucket list, bro.
I went when I was a lot younger. So I think when I was maybe 8 or 9 years old, I went to Disneyland in Florida. Is it Florida? Did
Disney World.
Universal Studios.
Yeah.
Disney
Wow.
did that one as well. That was they're next to each other, aren't they? Is it
Yeah.
Disney?
Ish,
Disney
yeah,
World.
about like 20 minutes out. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember doing both. That was like, that was many years ago. But no, when I went, the one ride I couldn't do was Tower of Terror. I did it once, and I destroyed my dad's arm because it was so unexpected. Like I remember we were just in this nice little elevator, just going moseying around, and the next thing you know, these shutters open, and then we just drop. And then I just remember just clinging onto my dad's arm, and I think tore blood from him. It was not so good for him. But then all the other rides and that were really fun. But just
So
Tower of Terror.
I take it you don't do well with roller coasters.
No, I do roller coasters. Just Tower of Terror.
The
and
dropping.
Those ones I just can't. Since then I just can't do those ones. But like I did all the other ones, like I think Aerosmith. I mean Hulk. I think Hulk was one back
Hulk
then.
was dope.
I've done them all. And over here in the UK, we have Alton Towers and we have Thorpe Park. They're like two of the big theme park attractions. And I think the last time I went was a couple of years ago, but did everything front row. Absolutely love it. So I definitely do roller coasters.
That's sweet. I'm not really a big roller coaster guy. I'm a little chicken shit when it comes to that.
They've done Six Flags.
That's my job.
Ish. I mean, I did the water park equivalent of it, which is Hurricane Harbor. Six Flags is right next to it. I don't know, man. I'm chicken shit when it comes to roller coasters. And what's crazy is my girlfriend would be like, "Oh, but you're okay with riding your motorcycle 100+ miles an hour with no sweat." I'm like, "Yeah, because I'm in control. I'm not in control of a roller coaster."
100%. That's where I'm like, do you know the roller coasters that go like 0 to 80 in like 2.6 seconds, whatever it is?
Yeah.
They're actually the ones. They're the ones I don't actually like that much, because even though you don't mind the feeling, it's just the fact that you're not in control of it, and it's just you're being fired. You're not the one firing yourself.
You don't know where it's going.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, like I'd be shitting myself. If Moto America ever like offered you like a year contract here, would you ever take it?
I don't know. Would I be getting paid?
I mean, pin the gas team. What are we looking at? 6 figures?
Yeah, 6 figures, and we can maybe talk some business.
Sheesh. All right, Chris.
I think I definitely love to at least try something different and potentially race over there. That would always be like, if I was getting paid to do it, then of course I'd consider it. And the tracks you have over there, some of them look really amazing. So like, I'd definitely love to do the Daytona 200.
Right.
That's on there. That'll be on my bucket list.
Yep. It's amazing.
Wait.
Yeah.
But what if Harley Davidson reached out right now and says, "Cameron, we want you to race a bagger"?
I would say give me a couple of tests on one, and then let's do it.
Fact.
So that's a hypothetical yes.
Yeah.
It's
Everybody
a hypothetical yes.
Everybody I ask that is not from America, they're like, "I want to race a freaking bagger."
Yep.
There's something about it, man. I used to. Confession to all Moto America fans and Americans, I used to hate the bagger class. I thought that was the dumbest gimmick, and then now I watch it and I'm like, this is pretty freaking cool.
It's awesome.
They are pretty cool, aren't you? And we've got
Like,
Jeremy
cool.
McWilliams. He's out there doing it, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
And
He's 58 years old. Yeah, and he's
58
still
years old. What a guy!
Right?
He's still racing, still like quick as anything. there was one video I saw of him on Instagram, which Moto America shared, of him like just two-wheel drifting round. I think it was a right-hand corner. I was like, damn, that guy's cool. Like 58 and he's doing that. Fair play to him. I want to be like Jeremy. I want to be like Jeremy when I get older.
Right, that's what I was gonna say. I want to grow up and be just like Mr. McWilliams. Yeah, he's
that's it. Yeah.
Which bike is he on, Chris? I forgot.
He's on the Indian.
Yeah.
The Indian, the factory Indian.
Yep.
Yeah. Could you imagine like how crazy cut his back muscles must be to just toss that 500-pound bike around?
It must be crazy.
The dude's probably in crazy shape, to be honest with you.
Well, I mean, 58, you got to be, especially to hustle that big ass bike around, for however many laps they do it. 100%. So listen, with Jake Marsh, man, he's a good mate of ours, dude. He says, "Congrats on the champion, Cameron. Sorry if you got in the way this year."
Oh, thanks, Jake. No, I don't. You didn't at all, mate. I think you've had quite a progressive year as well, so that's been nice to see. And hopefully the class can continue into next year, and then we can see some more progression.
What is the GP class going on next year, or they change? Oh no, that's the 400 class they're changing.
Dude, I ride BMX.
So the GP2 class, it's a little bit up in the air because we've not had the numbers that we've had previous years, I don't think. So it's a little bit up in the air, but I think they'll definitely, if they get the same number that they had this year, if not a couple more, then I think there's definitely interest to keep it going. But in regards to what I think I might be doing, I have no idea, to be honest. I don't know if GP2 is an option. We've got the bike, we've got all the infrastructure and everything. So one option is to potentially stay in the class next year, but then part of you says once you've won the championship, essentially, you then want to try and also move on to the next thing. So we're sort of in a bit of
a pickle,
unknown territory at the minute. We don't really know what we want to do. And I guess we'll just see. We'll see on that side of things.
I was going to ask, are we allowed to know what you might want to do next year?
You can absolutely know what I might want to do, which is, I think, ideally, I would potentially like to go to Supersport and see what we can do on a Supersport bike. Because obviously, I've been on the GP2 now for the last 3.5 years. So I think it'd be good to just test myself in a different class and see where we end up. So I think that's probably where I'd like to go. But then again, we've also got the option to continue in GP2 as well. So guess
on what bike?
Oh, another good question. Well, you asked me earlier, didn't you, about the Suzuki?
Oh,
they look like
snap.
not a bad package, do they? With their big engine, you don't have to do any refreshes. It's reasonably affordable.
That's the smart choice.
It seems like not a bad little option. But then you've obviously got so many bikes in Supersport at the minute. You've got the Ducatis, you've got MV Agustas, you've got the 765 Triumphs.
Yeah.
You got so many bikes which
are
capable of doing really well. So, and obviously you can't forget the Yamaha R6s, the Kawasaki 636s. Yeah, you've got so many different bikes.
Yeah, the bikes that are dominating our division is literally the V2 and the freaking 750. V2 Xavi Flores is a freaking animal on that thing.
Yeah, he did.
Holy crap! Saw that race in Coda. That race between Xavi and not T Hobbs, the other Tyler Scott. Dude, the power of both the 750 and the Panigale V2, so fun to watch. So fun to watch.
And we've seen a lot of it this year in Supersport with the likes of Ben Curry and like Reese Irwin, Jimmy Perrin.
Which, by the way, congrats to Ben Curry too, right? What a proper champion this year.
Absolutely. He's had a really good year, and I think his bike's one of the best looking bikes on the grid.
Me too.
Like
that silver and black. Oh my god, it looks so good.
So good.
It does.
Who gets to pick out how the bike looks? Like I'm always curious.
So for them, I think because he runs in the Oxford Products Ducati team, I think is basically just that's what the team colours are. So they sort of just decide. But when you have the likes of myself who just run on their own bike, we just get to choose. So we've got a bit of white, We've got a bit of blue for our team, which is Go Racing Developments. They've got like a blue logo, so we sort of run a bit of that. We've got orange, which I'm not the biggest fan of the color orange, but my dad is, so he chose a bit of orange in there, and then we've also got a bit of pink. Like pink's, I'd say, my color.
Yeah,
so we've got
Pink.
Got to get a pink. Yeah, pink.
Pink has definitely blown up this year, man.
I love pink.
Like that.
Yeah, I can see it in the
Beach.
logo. I can
Yeah.
see it in the Pin the
Yeah.
Gas logo. So
Yeah.
you guys
Yeah,
obviously
it's-
the fan as well.
You got to see the second one, man. We got lilac.
Listen, Cameron, he is hooked on this lilac color, bro.
Dude, the
for real.
second logo looks so fire. I've still yet to put on a shirt. I keep putting it aside because I'm trying to find like competitive rates here where I'm at to give me a good quality shirt. But the second color is just it's fire. It is amazing.
I'll send me a picture. Send me a picture of it.
I will.
Definitely.
I'll send it to you.
I'll follow you on Instagram and I'll send it to you. Jamie Hollis says, "Can you comment on the MotoGP rumors, please, Cam?"
Well, shout out to Jamie. I watched his episode last week. I've known Jamie since he was probably a wee bit younger. I remember him coming into the paddock. I think it must have been about 6-7 years ago. And bless him, he had his camera and was videoing everything. And then now he's like, everyone in the paddock knows him, and I think he's loving it. So shout out to Jamie. In terms of the MotoGP rumors, I guess he's maybe referring to Marc Marquez and that whole situation at Honda. Where's he going? What does he want to do? In my opinion, I think it's a done deal. He's gone to Gresini. I think if he was staying with Honda, he would have announced it at the weekend and at their home race. So I think that's a done deal. That'll be really exciting, to be honest. Seeing Marquez on a Ducati. I think like he's obviously been with Honda for so long, so it'll be refreshing for him to just get out on the bike, and he'll probably smoke the field.
Yeah, it will. I see it as, I'm sure in his contract somewhere it states that if he was to break his contract, he can't ride for another factory team. Well, Gresini's not a factory team. It's a satellite team. So that lets him out of that clause of his contract if he does decide to go to Gresini. So, listen, I've been saying it all along. I put it out earlier, and the slack I got from everybody was like, are you crazy? He ain't going to Gresini Ducati. And I'm like, listen, this is racing. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Obviously in GP, any racing orders that whenever there's smoke, there's obviously fire, but it never went out, Cameron. It just keeps coming up and coming up and coming up, and everybody's talking about it. And just like what you said, Motegi, right? Honda owns Motegi, so we're not a better place to announce, hey, guess what? I am staying with Honda, ha. But that never come up. And then on top of that, if you notice his tunes change, the way he approaches the media, the way he talks about Honda, the way, and especially his relationship with Honda, right? It's just go back and watch a couple years and then go back and rewatch all the races, just his social media and his interviews, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. But I'm with you, Cam. I think that, I think it's a done deal, man, for real. Even though, even Ducati had Gigi come out and said, yeah, he wants to be on our bike, right? And a satellite bike at that. So, yeah, brother, man, I think the announcement is coming for sure. And I'm excited. I think that it'll be good for MotoGP. And I think that if he wants to really, I'm not saying he's not a champion, because come on, man, he's an 8-time world champ. But if he wants to, I guess, seal his destiny, his legend status, he would have to go to a different manufacturer and win on that too as well.
100%. You look at Rossi and what he did back in the day when he switched from Honda to Yamaha and then Yamaha to Ducati. I think to be like one of the greatest, you have to prove that you can do it on other bikes. And I think we all know that he can. And to be honest, I'm not the biggest Marquez fan. I think
me neither.
He's always overridden bikes and he's almost pushed them a little bit too far, and it's obviously resulted in like big crashes and things like that. So I've never been the biggest fan of him, but I do really want to see him on a Ducati. All the hardship he's been through over the last sort of 2-3 years, I think it'd be great to see him just get on a competitive bike, especially if it's a non-factory bike. I think all the Ducati boys will be sweating, like Pecco and Jorge Martin. They'll be sweating because they'll be thinking, he's going to be coming for my ride if I'm not careful. So it'll make it really exciting next year. And I think if he doesn't win the championship, he will definitely win races and he'll be there or thereabouts. So it will make it really exciting, and he'll definitely be challenging Pecco, I think. And as we say, it's a done deal. He's going. Like there's no chance he's staying at Honda, surely.
I heard. Well, hang on, Jules, real quick. I heard the rumor mill was though he's actually got money involved with Gresini Honda. So I don't know how true that is. I think he owns part state claim. That's another reason why his brother's actually there. So there's that's been actually going around too. So that's and I believe if he does go to Gresini, wink, wink, right? That I don't think his bike's going to be a non-factory bike. I think he's going to have the full factory bike for sure.
They're going to have to give him all the bells and whistles.
Wink, right?
I mean, he's also not that old. Like in the grand scheme of things, he's not that old. And you know, when healthy, I feel like he is still a championship contender. And speaking of sweating, Pecco's sweating. I think Pecco's more than sweating right now. I think he's borderline shitting his pants because Martin is right behind his ass.
What do you think about that, Cameron? You think Jorge Martin can wrap up the title
Martin
this year?
steals it?
No, I don't, to be honest. I think Pecco is going to do it. He's been riding a little bit easily, I'd say. He's not been pushing himself fully. But now that gap has shrunk, I think that the next couple rounds they'll be telling, and I think Pecco he'll get on his horse again, and he'll probably win the majority of races. But to be fair to Jorge Martin, he's been on it the last couple of races. I think he's won just 5 in a row. Is it? He's won 5 races in a row.
3 sprint races back to back. Yep, 2. Yep.
Yeah, so he's been smashing it like the latter part of this year, and I think he is going to take it to Pecco, but ultimately I think Pecco won it last year. The year before, he arguably should have been there or thereabouts with Fabio Quartararo, but then he bottled it a little bit. But last year, I think he cemented himself as like a proper champion. This year, he's done a good job of trying to throw it away, hasn't he? Like when you think back to Kota when he crashed, and then when they were in India a couple of weeks back, like he's trying his best, isn't he? But I think he'll do it. He'll definitely do it.
Man, I listen. Hope that Jorge Martin does it. I ain't gonna lie. I think that, and Jules knows this, man. Ever since I've been on the podcast, I've been Jorge Martin. I think he's got one of the most.
He was our dark horse.
Yeah, talent of rider out there on the grid, right? And I always said if he can get it together in his own headspace and stop crashing, right, he would be a weapon. Obviously, he is that weapon. It's been 5 races in a row, right? So I think he's under Pecco's skin. Pecco's fallen in the past under pressure, which he's already done a couple times this year alone. But we'll see. It's going to be very exciting. And if Jorge Martin does do it, Cameron, he's going to be one of the only satellite riders of the only satellite rider of the new era to win on a non-factory motorcycle MotoGP, which again would be how proper mega awesome. Would that be, right? Yeah,
that would be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be amazing.
Since the beginning of when we started this podcast, because we started doing this towards the end of last year's GP season, right? We had Martin as our dark horse from the beginning. That was number 1, and number 2, he was. I forgot if he was Chris. I forgot if he was your pick as well. But when the whole speculation between Martin and Bastianini going to factory Ducati, I was still pro Martin regardless of the season that he had last year. I was still very pro Martin. Granted, we haven't really
Martin as well.
We haven't seen Granted, we haven't seen what the beast can do healthy with the bike, but it's like I don't know, man. like Ducati's a dick when it comes to this shit. So Bezzecchi's looking really good too, man. He's looking
he's obviously staying with VR46, isn't he? And it's actually Morbidelli that's going to Pramac, which it'd be good to see Morbidelli on a good bike. I think Fabio is probably the most upset out of everyone because he's seeing his teammate that he's been destroying all year go over to the Pramac bike, thinking he's getting a championship winning bike for not really doing that much.
Right.
And he's probably going to do really well next year.
And listen, I'm going to say it. Y'all going to hear it first, dude. Franco Morbidelli will beat Quartararo next year in a race. I didn't say all the races, but he'll definitely beat him in a race. And then, Fabio's going to, do his little pearl necklace he wears. And who knows what's going to happen after that. Yeah. He does. He's been wearing that pearl necklace. And what's up? Charlie Nesbitt is watching. What is going on, Charlie?
Charlie. I
Yes.
just wish Suzuki didn't bury everything, because I feel like
Yeah.
Suzuki figured something out last year with the inline fours against the V4s in a couple of races, and I'm just like, man, if only we knew what they knew. You know what I'm saying? Because right now
Yeah, poor
Yamaha's
timing, isn't it?
struggling.
They pulled out just as things were getting a bit tasty.
Yeah.
I'm sure Yamaha or Honda would have loved to just pick up their bikes and just take what they've got and put it into their own. But obviously, that's not how it works. But I want to shout out to Johan Zarco. I really want him to win a race this year. I really want him to win a race because
We want to see that backflip. Ain't that
Backflip.
right?
we want to
Cameron?
see the backflip. I think he's had. Isn't he like the most successful second place finisher to have not won a race or something
Besides
like that?
Danny Produ- well, yeah, to have not won a race. Yes, absolutely.
So it'd be nice to see him just get a race win, see that backflip, and then he can go to Honda where he's probably not going to ever finish in the top 10 again.
Contend
So
for shit, yeah.
Right.
Dude,
I think
honestly,
he would do well
best
at World
GP
Superbike.
Ooh,
I think Zarco
Really?
would do well in World Superbike. Yeah, I do.
I
on
think
a
he would.
Ducati.
Whatever you put him on, I think Zarco would do well. He's that level talented of a rider. Yeah, for sure.
So on the
He's
World
at-
I keep
Superbike topic, how do you think
Right.
Alvaro's going to do when he wildcards at Sepang?
Oh,
What's he going to do?
Man,
can't wait to
listen,
see that. Can't wait.
Alvaro Bautista, I mean,
Podium?
he's fast. I think realistically, coming from a production-based bike to a GP bike, yes, he's been in MotoGP for years, but now he's used to a production, which is a soft chassis bike, right? Going back that to a stiff chassis bike, realistically, I think he'll be in the top 10.
Yeah, I think so too.
top 5, it would be a dream, a podium. He might as well just retire, right?
I'm gonna say top 7. Right
Yeah,
now.
top 10 for sure.
I'm going to
Say top
say
7.
I'm going to say top 5.
Okay. There you go.
Oh,
Y'all heard it
Now look
first
at
on
Danny
Pin the Gas.
Pedrosa.
Yeah.
Yo,
Look at
5
Danny
quid.
Pedrosa. He came in. Obviously, he's done testing on the bike, but I think
Bro.
Alvaro, obviously, he races week in, week out. He's done a few tests on the Ducati, so he knows the bike. He's got a good feeling with it. I think he just needs to switch from World Superbike mode to MotoGP mode, and then I don't think he would want to do it unless he thought he'd have a good chance of at least getting a podium. So I think top 5 is doable for him.
Listen, I agree. Even I said top 10, but that goes all the way up to the podium too, right? Top 10. But yeah, I think you're right. I think he'll do good. And what an honor, you win the World Superbike title. They say, hey, here's the new GP machine. Go on and test it out. And yeah, you instantly click with it. I think he'll do really well. I think Top Rack. Let me ask you this: what do you think Top Rack at BMW? How do you think that's going to go, Cameron?
I don't know. I think it's a tough one because you've seen everyone go to BMW, like Scott Redding, Tom Sykes, Michael van der Mark. You've seen all these big riders go over to BMW,
But they
and
ain't the GOAT.
they've not been able to do it, have they? They're like, obviously they've got wins and they've got podiums, but it's never been consistent. I think Top Rack can make the difference. Can he win the championship on it though? I'm not so sure, especially with the likes of Jonathan going over to Yamaha. Obviously, Bautista staying with Ducati. I think they're just going to be there or thereabouts, and I think he's going to struggle. He definitely won't win in his first year. He might get there, in the second year, but I think he's done it for money. I reckon he's done it more for money than anything else. But as well, I guess he's done it for a challenge as well. So you got to respect it.
You do.
I think.
You do.
I don't think Yamaha could afford him, and I don't think Ducati need him. So that's why he's gone to BMW.
I think this is what's gonna happen. All right, this is Julius's fantasy right now. Right, he's doing BMW. He's getting all the factory support. BMW behind the scenes have a MotoGP prototype ready for him to be their rider in MotoGP in the next couple of years. Bang, book it.
You know what? That theory, I have the same theory as well, because MotoGP want more bikes. And when Suzuki pulled out, BMW, I think, shared some interest in trying to get a bike out, but I don't think they felt they were ready. So I completely agree with you in the fact that I think he'll do maybe 2 years with BMW. He'll bring them some success, and then they'll be like, right, here we go. Let's take to MotoGP and let's do it.
And that rumor, again, when we talk about rumor mills, it's still going around, BMW still has high interest in being the MotoGP. So yeah, you never know. And I think that Toprak's going to do good on the BMW. I think he's going to struggle more at first than Johnny Ray will at Yamaha.
Yeah, I'll totally
For
agree
sure.
with that.
Yeah. But I think that once he figures out the BMW, yeah, I think he'll definitely win on it. But yeah, Cameron, dude, let me ask you this: away from motorcycles, right? So, what does Cameron do away from motorcycles? Helmets up, boots glove, because you're already the champ, right? Leathers hung up, golden helmet put away. Yeah. So,
Oh, you got a golden helmet too?
he's
Not
gonna
yet.
have a
So
golden
it
helmet.
should be there for brands. We're on a tight turnaround because we weren't that prepared. So me and my dad were phoning up one of our sponsors, trying to get them to send a helmet to our painter. Our painters, hopefully, he suggested that he's not going to promise anything, but he said it it should be doable. So we're fingers crossed that we should be able to get a gold helmet ready for brands.
It better be doable. This is tradition.
That's
a championship.
it.
You gotta put little gold flakes on it, a little bit of glitter. Come on, man.
100%. You'll have to wait and see. You'll have to wait and see. I spoke to him yesterday. And I was telling him my ideas as to what we want to do in terms of the championship helmet. So I'll be excited. It's being done, so I will have one. Hopefully, it'll be here for brands, and I'll be excited to obviously share it with everyone when it's ready.
I can't wait.
Definitely.
But
yeah, well,
so
what Chris
I guess
saying,
in terms of away from the track, I think partly again the reason it might not have sunk in yet is because Monday morning I was in work in London, so I literally came home from the race weekend, was asleep within like 2 hours of coming back. We watched all the races from the weekend, went straight to sleep, and then I was up really early the next morning to go to London, do my job, and then come back. So outside of racing, I work full time for an American company. Actually, the company is a global organization, but they're based in New York, in the US. So American culture. It's a reasonably enjoyable company to be at. But I basically do like a little sales role. I try and sell a service, tell people how good it is, and then hope they buy it. So that's like my full-time day job, which helps pay for racing from one extent. And then outside of that full-time job, I then also have just set up a business with my business partner, Ben. This business is, we've basically created a drink. It's a hard seltzer. So obviously hard seltzers in the US, huge. They're slowly coming about in the UK. They're not that well known, I'd say, over here at the moment, but hopefully we're jumping on the trend just as it gets bigger and bigger. So we've got this. I've got a can here actually. It's the company's called Gin, spelled Gyn. Our tagline is hard protein. So essentially, this is a hard seltzer. It's an alcoholic drink. It's gin based. It's 5% ABV, just similar to like your normal beers and things like that. But where we wanted to be really different was in the fact that we've got 10 grams of protein within the drink. So the idea is we've got a low calorie drink with 10 grams vegan protein. We've got a couple of B vitamins as well to essentially make this, we can't really say a healthy drink or a healthy alcoholic drink, but it's playing on the borderline that when you have an alcoholic drink, you can at least get, other benefits with it as well. It's not just I'm drinking, and with it being low calorie as well, that also helps.
So you're saying me and Chris get fucked up and have a really good workout with it?
Basically.
That's actually kind of sick, man. That's
So
actually kind of sick.
The way the idea sort of came about was when we were at university, we'd like me and my business partner Ben, we're both very active, both go to the gym. Obviously, training for motorcycle racing, I pretty much train every single day. But occasionally, we do like to go out and have a bit of a party. So the idea came about where we were just on a night out and we thought, well, we want to go to the gym the next day, or we'd just done a gym session, but we're having some drinks and, probably going to get a little bit drunk. We thought, well, there's nothing out there at the minute where you get some sort of benefit whilst drinking. And we thought, well, sure, why has no one like combined protein with an alcoholic drink, for instance? So we did a lot of research. We found think 1 or 2 companies where they tried it, but they'd not really got it right. Whereas we thought, well, if we're going to do it, we'll do it properly, and we'll invest in a proper drinks development company so that they actually know what they're doing and they put it all together. So, yeah, we've been going about this for about 2 years. We've just had 2,000 cans produced, and hopefully it will all be available online within the next sort of week or 2. I was telling Chris before the podcast that we've had a little hiccup in terms of distribution, but hopefully it should all be sorted soon, and yeah, it'll be available for purchase, so people can get drunk in a fun, healthy way,
and get a pump at the same time.
yeah,
Yo,
we'll trade
we'll trade you shirt and hat for a 4 case.
Listen.
Oh, 100%. We'll get it sorted.
Dude,
That's
I
awesome.
would love to try that. I'll be like, like after chest day, I'll be like, man, fuck a protein drink.
Look,
I'm gonna drink some alcohol.
right? Look, Jamie Hollis said 2,000 cans for brands gonna be wild.
And that'll be just for him as well. I'm sure he's
Yeah,
he's a
right.
big drinker, so
Right?
Oh, word,
Yeah.
Jamie, you be getting down like that, bro? You be partying like that?
yeah, Jamie loves a party. He'll be on it at the end of season party. So yeah, I'm gonna bring a little stash of gin. So Jamie, if you are listening, then I'll have a couple of cans for you for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So listen, Cameron, again, away from motorcycles and your business, favorite movie?
I'm a big Adam Sandler fan. I love his films, and I'd say my favorite Adam Sandler film is Grown Ups. And I'd say
Nice.
that's my favorite film because whenever like you're feeling low or anything like that, you just watch Grown Ups and it just like brings your whole mood up. I think when you watch it with friends as well, and like when they've seen it, you can like almost say who's who in the film.
Right.
And then it adds, and you can all relate to either one of the characters or a couple of them. So it's yeah, Grown Ups got me my favorite film.
Love
Especially when you're fucked up on gin.
Especially after a couple of gins,
Right.
It becomes even better.
That's awesome.
Real quick, going back to the gin. It's just one flavor right now.
So at the minute we've got one flavor. It's Berry Blast Hard Seltzer. We've got some other flavors potentially in the works, like a lemon and lime, and a potentially orange and mango. But what we want to do is obviously get this flavor off the shelves, get people buying it, give you a better idea of the can again.
Nope, there it is.
Vegan protein, so everyone can drink it. It's got added vitamins, no added sugar, 85 calories, and you can check it out if you do want to. If anyone's listening and they do want to see more about the product, you can just check it out on Instagram, Facebook through @GinDrinksUK. Or you can just see our website, www.gindrinks.co.uk. So that's
definitely gonna follow your Instagram.
Little plug in there.
No,
what about gin and coffee?
Gin and coffee.
Ooh, gin and coffee. I mean, to be honest, we've had loads of ideas thrown at us. Gin and coffee. We've had like, do you have Baileys over in the US?
Yeah.
Some like chocolate version. Like people will give us loads of ideas, which is pretty cool. So who knows what the future holds? I think I'm pretty keen to get a non-alcoholic version out there as well because obviously with protein shakes, they're always usually really thick and quite difficult to drink. I think I'm pretty confident we'd be able to get 25 grams of protein within a 250ml can and without it being too thick. So two non-alcoholic cans you'd be getting like 50 grams protein. I think that'd be pretty tasty.
Yeah,
plus absolutely. The caffeine, dude, that would be the greatest freaking drink I'll ever
buy energy. There's so many little avenues that we're thinking about, but obviously we want to get this one right, and then
that's right,
and obviously go from there.
Put them on Shark Tank. You ever seen Shark Tank?
Yeah, we've got what's called Dragon's Den over here, which is the same as Shark Tank. But for some reason the money isn't as big in Dragon's Den. You watch Shark Tank and they're like asking for 2.5 million for like 2%. Over here it's more like 50k for like 10% of the business. So yeah, maybe I need to come over to Shark Tank and pitch it to them.
Yeah, for sure.
When we go US based.
Dustin's asking, who are you in the Grown Ups movie? Let me see if I can take a wild guess.
Oh, I've got to be Lenny. Okay,
surely.
I was about to say that.
That's awesome.
Who would you guys be then? Who are you in Grown Ups?
I mean, obviously I'm black, so I gotta.
Playing that card.
I like Rob Schneider.
Right? Yes, Jules. Rob Snyder. That is you, 100%.
I love Rob Schneider, dude.
Dude,
I forget their names. Their names in the movie, but yeah, Rob Schneider's my guy. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, that's good stuff. So, Cameron, let me ask you this: if they made a documentary about you in your road race career, who would play you as you in your movie?
Oh, dude, Jake Gyllenhaal.
I would have to go with, because I'm a big fan of him, and I've been told only by like one or two people that I look a bit like him, which is Keanu Reeves.
That's my favorite actor.
I think,
Absolutely.
yeah, he's one of my favorite actors.
Yeah,
and again, one of my other favorite films is Point Break.
Dude,
So,
I love Point Break. That's
film.
like, yeah, Johnny fucking Utah, baby. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I love that
Love
film.
that.
It's great, man. So, Cameron, have you ever been skydiving before?
I've never been skydiving. I want to do it at some
You
point.
need to.
Never been, but yeah,
It's,
I've heard it's supposed to be a rush.
Listen, I guess it would be the closest thing I could come up with to anything as the mountain jump at Caldwell Park. The feeling would be jumping out of an airplane. Yeah, for sure.
What? Nah, I feel like it. Skydiving was a lot scarier than that.
No, man. I mean, listen. What I mean by that is your very first time. Like I can envision my very first time being at Caldwell Park, actually approaching the mountain on a motorcycle. The anxiety, the tension, the because you don't know what to expect because you've never done it before, right? Same thing as jumping out of an airplane. You know, you're up there in the plane, you're looking out at 11,000 feet, and you're like, "Holy shit!" You know, same thing. The anxiety, that's what I mean by that. As far as the nerves go, I guess I would say.
Yeah, I can definitely imagine that. And when you say jump the mountain, I'd use that term loosely for someone like me because I don't actually really jump it. To be fair,
I know.
I'll get like probably a couple of inches at most, but every inch counts, as they say. So yeah, it's just
not a Josh Brooks, man. When I seen Josh Brooks, I was like, holy shit! Like he straight launches that like 4 foot in the air. I literally was beside myself going.
Freaking tail whips his bike midair.
Literally, he does, doesn't it? Him and Ryan Vickers, they
Ryan too.
They send it.
They full send it, and I try to tell everybody again, Cameron and Jules, man, to physically see it in real life, you're like, yeah, it's the most.
These bikes aren't meant to be jumped, and then when they're being jumped, it's like wow.
And well, because I talked to a couple of the guys, and they said that it's really tricky to set up for, especially with like Brooks and people that fully send it, Vickers, because if you don't have the chain set just right, the chain will come off every time.
Yeah.
So it's kind of one of those. Well, how far are you gonna send it, right?
Yeah,
I'm a full send it. Yeah, I'm gonna send that bad boy. Yeah,
who would like to see the baggers there at Caldwell Park?
Listen,
oh god,
dude, bro. Listen, I think that would be probably the most epic bagger race there was in the world. It would be utter chaos, insane.
That would be the Formula One equivalent for Monaco. Whoever's in first place in the bagger wins the race. where are they passing unless they go through the grass?
Yeah, literally. I wouldn't know, to be fair, because the track's so narrow, isn't it? It would be a task.
That's another thing. Go ahead.
I've heard the baggers are coming to one of the BSB rounds. I'm not sure which one, but I've heard it's in the works.
Yeah, I actually had a conversation with Stuart Higgs after my grid walk. Me and Daniel were over there, and I was like, hey, I'm Simcoe for Pendergast American, and immediately he's like, oh, Moto America. I'm like, yeah, I watched this. So we immediately hit it off and just started talking about everything Moto America and BSB, right? And he's like, what do you think about the baggers? I was like, dude, it's fucking mental, right? He's like, yeah, dude, I'm actually working with Wayne Rainey and them, getting them over here too as well. You know, we hadn't announced it yet or anything, but I was like, that's going to be proper, right? Like seeing the bagger boys over there, dude, and BSB is going to be, it's going to be something, very chaotic and awesome to see at the same time. Beautiful music is what it is.
I mean, what do you think the logistics of it would be? How would they get all the bikes over here? That'd be anything, I think.
A really big barge.
A boat. Yeah, just like they get everything overseas, right? It's just like if I come over there to Europe and I bought RVT 450 or whatever, right? I can just have it crated and shipped over here. I think
Yeah,
it's like
true.
1,200 pounds. It's really not that expensive to be done. But of course, if you're going to bring the whole fleet, of course, you get a bigger discount. But you know what? They'll figure all that shit out. I'm just glad it's going to happen, and it's going to be awesome when it does happen.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? So let me ask you this: are you an Indian or Harley fan?
I think because Jezza is on the Indian, I've got to go that way. I've got to go with the Indian.
That's sweet. The friggin' Indian bikes
I like the Indian too.
Sweet.
I do.
So sweet. I actually want to ride an FTR. I want to know what it's like or to flat track one of them shits. I actually want to do it. Oh, I don't know who this is from, Chris, but it says, "What's the most vintage bike you have ever been on at race pace speed?"
I think it's.
That's a good question. What's the most vintage bike I've ever been? I don't actually know, to be honest. I think because whenever I've ridden a bike, they've always been like sort of modern bikes. The oldest bike I've ridden would be an Aprilia RS125.
Nice.
From like 2003, I'd say. But other than that, I wouldn't class it as vintage. One of my neighbours, funny enough, he's just invested his pension into a really old classic bike. It's called, I want to say it's called a Vincent Shadow or something,
Yep,
a Black Shadow.
Yes.
Something like that from like 1930s, maybe a little bit younger, older than that. And yeah, I know this thing cost a lot of money. So they do, yeah. I've never ridden it, but it looks cool. It sounds cool. And that's probably the oldest bike I've ever seen.
That's awesome. That's I've never seen one. I've just seen pictures of one, but to see one the Vincent in real life has got to be a masterpiece to behold, right? What a beautiful machine. Because now you see where we come from, where all the motorcycles come from, right? Which is it's beautiful. It's a beautiful machine for sure.
Yeah, it's crazy to think like where they started, how they built a motorbike, and then where they've come from now. But I guess it's still back then it was 2 wheels and an engine, and now it's 2 wheels and an engine. So, but it always baffles me like how people came up with these types of things, like a car, like a motorbike, electricity. Like, how do people think of these things? I would never.
Oh man, Benjamin Franklin with the kite, man. Come on, man. You know the story, right? And the light bulb.
The story. I don't know how he came up with it though.
Yeah, right.
What made him
that's
think.
Awesome.
They're not made him think to do such a thing.
There should be a league with just Hayabusas and CX-14s. That should just be its own separate division.
Just straight lines or with corners as well?
No, with corners. I've seen people track Hayabusas.
Yeah. I think.
If they do a bagger, why not?
That's true. It'd probably be easier to race a Hayabusa than it is a bagger.
Would be, dude. I would always love to see them bringing like superchargers in on motorcycle races, right? Just have one class.
Oh my god,
just supercharged 600s, right, dude? Imagine that, bro. That'd be fast, right? I mean, just wild too. Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be good stuff. So let me ask you this, Cameron: if you could race on any team in the world, MotoGP, World Superbike, blah blah blah, what team, what bike would you be on, and who would be your teammate?
I think it would have to be the Ducati in MotoGP. I think it's the best bike on the grid. It would be cool to be teammates with someone like Pecco. But actually, you know what? I'd probably say Marquez. Seeing his data, seeing how he rides a bike, that would be cool because apparently he rides a bike like no one else. So you have the likes of Pecco who they've got everything nailed down to a T. They brake as late as they can. They accelerate as hard as they can. But then someone like Marquez, it'd be cool to see his data and share a garage with him just to see what he actually does. Because everyone says you look at his data and you can't replicate it. So it'd be cool to just have a look at it and see like, nah, fuck, you can't do this. Or actually, you know what? I probably could. So that would be cool to see.
I know one person that they say that about too. Cameron Fraser. I don't know if you ever heard about Cameron Fraser. He just wrapped up the GP2 title in British Superbike. Yes, let's go.
Right.
Yeah,
he's all right.
Not too sure about that, but I think Marquez. It'd be cool to see someone like his data. But I guess my data doesn't look too bad. I'm sure my data engineer, he'd probably say different. Whenever you do like a debrief with him, he's always ripping you. He's always ripping riders, and that's how he gets us quicker.
That's
he just
awesome.
He says you're braking too early, you're not accelerating hard enough, you're not squaring the throttle. That's every time you come in, in your head, you're just thinking he's going to find something. He's going to find something, but that's how you get better. So
it is.
It's like, hey, I just won the championship. Well, you should have won it 2 races ago.
Right?
Yeah, literally.
That's great. Awesome. But anyway, gentlemen, we are approaching the hour 15 mark. Chris, I'm gonna have you close this out real quick. It's got a noise in my background, man.
All right.
So go ahead, take it away.
All right, man. Listen, Cameron, again, what an honor it was to have you on. Like I said, we're definitely going to have a part 2. Absolutely, with Cameron back. Dude, congratulations on your title, bro. Like I said, look, I was telling him, Jules, the story. So I was in here watching it on my TV, right? My wife's outside smoking a cigarette. My son's in the other room playing on his Oculus, right? He's clueless to what the hell's going on in the world when he's got that thing on anyway. So, dude, I see Cameron on TV. They're like, oh, we don't know if he did enough to win the title yet, blah, 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 blah. And then they show Cameron on TV, right? And he don't really know, a thumbs up, blah, blah, blah. But bro, when they announced it, I literally screamed to the top of my lungs. I was like, yes, yes. And my wife comes in. She's like, what the hell are you screaming? I was like, Cameron just won the GP2 title. Let's go. She's like, dude, calm down. I'm like, no, woo. Yeah, it was, dude, listen, the emotions you gave me, man, it was proper mega, as you guys say. It was, listen, congratulations. Super proud of you, man. And again, what an honor it is to have you on. Before I get off here, I just want to give another shout out to Michael Correa and Juju, right? FSL Mini GP. You guys go check him out. Thanks to everybody that watches, likes, subscribes, and supports us over there in the UK and here in the United States, man. Nothing but love. I appreciate, and I love all you guys, and I say it all the time, and I really mean it. But before we get off here, all you guys know who I am. You know who Cool Jules is, right? You know where to find us, where to like, where to subscribe, where to listen. But the champ, my man Cameron Fraser, baby. Why don't you tell everybody?
Shit only,
that's it. Tell everybody how they can find you, where they can reach out to you, where they can get your proper mega drinks you're coming up with. That's going to be
where
released
they can get
soon.
Your social security number, where they can get your passport
details,
right?
Of it all. No, first I want to say it's a massive thank you for having me on the podcast. I've really enjoyed chatting with you guys. The energy you both bring and the passion you have for the sport is really cool to see. And after speaking with you guys, I'd love to come back on again at some point in the future.
Done.
So really appreciate you guys having me on, and we got a great chat. So look forward to it in the future. When it comes to just finding me on like social media, you can find me on Instagram, Cameron Fraser 66, Facebook, Cameron Fraser 66. I've got a website which is just CameronFraserRacing.com. Again, you can just see all like race reports, you can see photos, you can see all those bits and pieces. And then, as I mentioned earlier, when it comes to the new business, you can find gin drinks. I'll hold the can up here again. gindrinks.co.uk, or you can find us on all socials at gindrinksuk. So, please feel free to go and check out the product. It'll be available for purchase soon. As I said, really happy to have come on the podcast. Great meeting you guys, and look forward to any future chats.
Dude,
listen,
we are excited
100%.
to see what you do next season and everything and beyond with the business, everything. And cannot wait to have you back. This has been wonderful.
Yep, it's been proper mega, as I said.
I'm serious about that 4-pack, man.
We know, Jules.
Listen, we do 6 packs.
Yeah, right.
Oh, okay. I didn't want to get too greedy.
Even better, right?
I was like, all right, maybe a 4.
Well, do you need a 6-pack?
I mean, shit. Like, why not, right?
Awesome.
Why not? But thank you so much, Cameron, for. Oh, go ahead, Chris.
No, I was gonna say one more thing, but before Jules closes everything out, is if you guys didn't get a chance to watch this live today, which if you did, much love to you, and I appreciate it. Tomorrow it's going to be out on Spotify and iHeartRadio and all that good major listening platforms. So go there, hit that bell and all that good stuff, and it'll be live on there tomorrow too as well.
Amen. Chris already knows the deal. You know where to find us. You know where to find him. You know where to find his drinks. the USA/UK connection is real, and we're going to keep it alive. So go ahead and leave us a like, leave us a comment, let us know what you think, and we'll see you guys at the next episode. Once again, I'm Cool Jules. That is Chris, the whole effing show, Simcoe, and Cameron Red Eye Fraser. See you guys at the next one. Peace.
Cheers, guys.
All right, hang on.